Hey y'all, it's Lauren, and I have a small stack here. I just want to do a little bit of Summerween reading. I have four book recommendations that I'm giving y'all to add to your TBR this summer. And our first book is What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. Y'all, if there was a word or a couple of words that I could use to describe this book, it would be Christ's blood. This book follows our main character, Alex, who is non binary, and they are a product of war. It just follows the adventure that Alex goes on when they get a letter from a friend saying that they desperately need them to come see them. He finds out that the friend's sister is sick and there is something wrong with the sister. Turns out, if you are a fan of mushrooms, I am so sorry. This will definitely make you wonder. Make you wonder. As you can tell from the cover, it is a bit creepy. While I was reading this book, I also did listen to the audiobook as well, and it was just the perfect amount of like creepy angst, anxiety that was what is needed in a very short book like this. This book is 158 pages. It is about 7 to 8 chapters, and it literally gives you what you're looking for. If you want something very short and sweet, it is a retelling of one of Edgar Allan Poe's books. So I highly recommend that you get into this summer. And I can't forget that this is the start of a 3 book series. And this is by far my personal favorite of the series. And you cannot get any better than the original. So this is my next recommendation for your summerine reads, and it is The Weight of Blood by Tiffany D. Jackson. This is a retelling of Stephen King's Carrie, and Tiffany D. Jackson did such a phenomenal job of bringing race to the forefront of this book. This book follows Maddie, and she is biracial, but she is raised by her white father who said that she needs to hide who she is. This young lady has been bullied throughout her high school experience, and something terrible happens where there is a lot of death at the end. And it is just the way that this book is told. It is told also in two perspectives. It is told kind of like podcast style and in the actual format of Maddie as well. We get in the podcast style, we get the two podcasters speaking. We have one who doesn't believe that Maddie did what she did, and we have somebody who actually believes that she did what she did. And what I really enjoyed about the podcast version, um, or chapters that we get in this book, is that you have somebody who is going to ask those questions like, are you sure she did it? I do not feel like, she did these things. What could have caused these powers of hers? Like, are you sure it just wasn't a breakdown that she was experiencing due to all the bullying that she was experiencing? You also get the perspective of Maddie and everything that she went through, from being the loner girl to having the star player kind of like have a crush on her, and see what that experience is like, or at least it feels like he has a crush on her, and what leads to her powers being drawn up. If you definitely enjoy Stephen King's Carrie, I definitely think you'll enjoy the Tiffany D. Jackson's reversion of that. In my next recommendation, it is Five Survive by Holly Jackson. Holly Jackson is also the well known author of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, but let me tell y'all something. Five Survive is that girl. This book follows a group of friends who take an RV trip cross country, and they end up broken down in the middle of absolutely nowhere. And next thing you know, they are being pinned down by a sniper. No one can leave, and you have to tell your darkest secrets. This is a bone chilling, twisty ride to get the secret out. And these secrets that get revealed are absolutely making you side eye some of the characters. I enjoyed how Holly definitely made us like look at certain characters differently, how she made us think outside of the box. Like, I really was side eyeing a couple of characters while reading this book, and I was absolutely surprised to see why this came to light and why this particular group of friends. This book also follows our main character Red, and she has the very big secret that she needs to keep. She cannot tell this secret. So it was very interesting to see how this secrecy of this friend group kind of like tears them apart, and why this big secret needed to come out, even though I felt like we had such a really big twist. Now, this book is about less than 400 pages, and I highly recommend, especially like the sniper aspect of it. It was really good, and there are a couple of deaths in this book as well. My last recommendation for your Summerween reads for your TBR is You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Kalynn Bryan. Let me tell y'all something. I read this book in 24 hours. It is the perfect slasher. Like, you can tell that she loves slasher films in this book. It gave you everything it needed to give. When I tell you this is kind of like, I would say like Jason reimagined, this is definitely that. This book follows Charity, who gets her dream job at this camp as the final girl. And as in true fashion of all slasher movies, you have to have a final girl. This does such a great job of bringing the act of the camp to life in this book. And it is just supposed to be, a fun summer where you are acting, you're just pretending to be the final girl for the sake of like the tourists who come by, and it actually ends up playing out while you're here as an actor. This story has so many layers to it, and there's something so big at the end that happens, and it's definitely giving Jason. It definitely gives Jason. One thing I will say is that this book kind of made me scared of owls. It sounds weird, but just like once you get into it, you'll understand why. So, this book is also less than 200 pages, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, this book is less than a hundred. No, this book is less than 250 pages, and I read this in 24 hours. It was so good. I love a book that you just cannot put down, and this is definitely your girl. With that being said, these are my 4 recommendations for your Summerween to add to your TBR. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see y'all in the next video. Bye.